The forgotten signal. Sarah Chen hadn't expected to find anything interesting in the automated recycling facility's reject pile. Most days, the massive sorting machines did their job perfectly, separating valuable materials from actual trash. But today, something had triggered enough anomalous readings to shut down an entire processing line. "What do you got for me this time, old girl?" Sarah muttered, patting the hulking frame of the sorting machine. Her boots crunched over scattered debris as she made her way to the rejection bin. The facility's AI had marked this section for human inspection, a rare occurrence that usually meant either a major malfunction or something the system couldn't classify. The source of the disruption sat innocuously among crushed cans and twisted metal, a smooth, oval object roughly the size of a basketball. Its surface had an odd, oily sheen that seemed to shift colors under the harsh industrial lighting. Sarah's handheld scanner went crazy the moment she pointed it at the object, cycling through error messages she'd never seen before. "Now that's different," she whispered, crouching down for a closer look. The object's surface was covered in what appeared to be circuit-like patterns, but they moved and realigned themselves as she watched. Her fingers tingled when she reached out to touch it, like static electricity but somehow more purposeful. The facility's intercom crackled. "Chen, what's taking so long down there?" Her supervisor's voice echoed through the cavernous space. "Just need a few more minutes, Mr. Rodriguez," she called back, already pulling out her toolkit. "Looks like we got some exotic materials triggering the sensors." That wasn't exactly a lie. Whatever this thing was, it definitely qualified as exotic. Sarah's diagnostic tools were giving her increasingly impossible readings. Energy signatures that shouldn't exist, material compositions that defied physics as she understood it. She was about to take a surface sample when the object hummed to life. The circuitry patterns glowed with a soft blue light, and a holographic display materialized above it. Sarah scrambled backward, her heart pounding, as alien symbols danced through the air. The symbols shifted, reformed, and suddenly resolved into English text. "Guardian System Detection Protocol activated. Scanning for viable operator." A beam of light swept over Sarah before she could move. The holographic display flickered and new text appeared. "Candidated technical aptitude. Sufficient. Creative probatal imso ovngindex. Optimal. Initiating NTRFAs." "Wait, what?" Sarah started to say, but the world around her dissolved into streams of light and data. When her vision cleared, she found herself standing in what appeared to be a vast control room, though none of the technology looked remotely human in origin. A voice spoke, not in her ears but directly in her mind. "Welcome, Operator Chen. I am the Last Guardian, a defense and preservation system created by the Artaxian Collective. Your species has finally achieved the technological threshold necessary for activation." Sarah struggled to process what she was seeing, what she was hearing. "I'm sorry, the what collective? And what do you mean by defense system?" The Artaxians were once the predominant peacekeeping force in this sector of the galaxy, the voice explained. "We seeded developing worlds with dormant guardian nodes designed to activate when indigenous species reached appropriate technological levels. Your recycling facility's scanning systems were advanced enough to trigger my awakening protocols. So, you're telling me that I just found an alien superweapon in my junk pile?" Sarah asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "Not a weapon," the Guardian corrected. "A shield. A protector. And now that I have awakened, we have very little time. Your world's technological signature is about to become visible to the rest of the galaxy. Not all who notice will be friendly." As if on cue, red warning symbols began flashing through the holographic interface. The Guardian's voice took on a more urgent tone. "Multiple vessels have just entered your solar system. Their energy signatures match known hostile species. They are coming to claim this world as their territory." Sarah felt her mouth go dry. "What? What can we do?" "Together? More than you can imagine. Your species has something rare, Operator Chen. An incredible capacity for adaptive thinking and creative solutions. Combined with my systems, we might just stand a chance. But I must warn you, accepting the role of Guardian Operator will permanently link you to this facility. The burden will be immense. Sarah looked down at her grease-stained hands, then at the spectacular alien technology surrounding her. All her life, she'd been fixing things, solving problems, finding solutions where others saw only junk. Maybe this was what she'd been preparing for all along. "Well," she said, squaring her shoulders, "I guess we better get to work then." The Guardian's response carried what might have been approval. Indeed, initiating full systems integration. "And Operator Chen, welcome to the galactic community. Your species is about to make quite an entrance." As Sarah felt the Guardian's systems connecting with her mind, as knowledge of impossible technologies began flooding her consciousness, she couldn't help but smile. Humanity's first line of defense was going to be a mechanic who spent her days sorting through trash. Somehow, that felt exactly right. Awakening the Guardian. The recycling facility's control room erupted into chaos within hours of Sarah's discovery. Government vehicles surrounded the building, their lights painting the walls in alternating red and blue. Sarah watched them from her new command center, what had once been the facility's basement storage room, now transformed by the Guardian's technology into something out of a science fiction movie. "They're not going to believe me," she muttered, watching the feeds from the facility's security cameras. A dozen different agencies had representatives outside, all demanding answers about the massive energy signature their satellites had detected. Human authorities rarely believe truth when first presented with it. The Guardian responded, its voice now a familiar presence in her mind. "But we have more pressing concerns. The hostile fleet has passed Mars' orbit. We have approximately 48 hours before they arrive." Sarah ran her hands through her hair, fighting back exhaustion. The past few hours had been a crash course in alien technology that made her engineering degree feel like kindergarten finger painting. "Show me the defensive systems again." The air filled with holographic schematics, layer upon layer of energy shields, weapon platforms, and communication arrays, all dormant within the Guardian node. These systems were designed to protect developing civilizations, the AI explained, but they require significant power to activate, power we currently lack. Sarah studied the schematics, her mind racing. The technology was incredible, but it followed logical principles. Everything had a purpose, a reason. Like any machine, it could be understood, modified, improved. "What if we tied into the power grid?" she suggested, but the Guardian quickly countered. "Insufficient. The systems require exponentially more power than your entire planetary infrastructure could provide." Sarah paced the room, thinking out loud. "Okay, so we need massive power generation. Something beyond current human technology." But she stopped, a crazy idea forming. "What about the recycling facility itself?" "Explain," the Guardian prompted. "We process millions of tons of materials here. The sorting systems use electromagnetic fields to separate different metals. If we could modify those fields, amplify them using your technology." She pulled up the facility's schematics alongside the Guardian systems. "Look, the layout is almost fractal. If we treated the entire facility like one massive electromagnetic generator." The Guardian was silent for a moment, processing. "Fascinating. You propose to convert your primitive recycling technology into a power generation system using principles your science hasn't even discovered yet. The chances of success are minimal. The risk of catastrophic failure is high." Sarah grinned. "Welcome to human engineering. Sometimes, the craziest solutions are the only ones that work." She began marking points on the facility's blueprint. "We'll need to modify every sorting machine, link them together in a new configuration. Can your systems interface with our equipment?" "Theoretically. But this plan," the Guardian seemed to hesitate. "It defies conventional logic." "Good thing we're not conventional then," Sarah replied, already heading for the main sorting floor. How long until those ships arrive? 47 hours, 18 minutes. Then we better move fast. She grabbed her toolkit, enhanced now with alien technology she was only beginning to understand. I'll modify the hardware. You handle the software integration. We're about to turn a junkyard into humanity's first line of defense. The next hours were a blur of activity. Sarah crawled through maintenance tunnels, rewired control systems, and rebuilt sorting machines into something entirely new. Her hands moved with certainty, even when her mind couldn't fully grasp the principles involved. The Guardian's knowledge merged with her practical experience, creating solutions that neither of them could have devised alone. Outside, government officials continued to demand answers. Sarah ignored them all. Let them think she was crazy. She had more important things to worry about. Power conversion matrix at 20%, the Guardian announced as Sarah finished another modification. But I'm detecting structural instability in the western quadrant. Sarah wiped sweat from her forehead, leaving a streak of grease. The old conveyor system. The electromagnetic fields are too strong. She thought for a moment. What if we reverse the polarity? Use the instability to create a feedback loop. That would. The Guardian paused. Yes, that could work. Though no one has ever attempted such a configuration. First time for everything, Sarah muttered, already running toward the western section. Her muscles ached, her eyes burned from lack of sleep, but adrenaline kept her going. With each modification, she could feel the power building in the facility. The air crackled with energy, and the walls hummed with potential. 40 hours later, Sarah stood in the command center, watching the final power readings climb. The recycling facility had been transformed into something that defied description. A hybrid of human industrial technology and alien defense systems, held together by improvised solutions and desperate innovation. Power levels approaching 90%, the Guardian reported. But the hostile fleet has accelerated. They will arrive in less than 3 hours. Sarah checked the structural integrity readings one last time. Will it be enough? Unknown. This configuration is unprecedented. The power generation is sufficient, but the integration methods are unorthodox. Story of my life, Sarah said, managing a tired smile. Systems check. What's our status? Defensive shields, online but untested. Weapon platforms, charging. Communication arrays, functional. The Guardian paused. Operator Chen. Sarah, what you have accomplished here defies all logical parameters. Your species continues to surprise me. Thanks, Sarah replied, watching the distant dots of the approaching fleet on the holographic display. Let's just hope we can surprise our visitors too. The facility shuddered as another power surge rolled through it. In orbit, satellites tracked multiple objects approaching Earth at impossible speeds. In the command center, Sarah Chen, mechanic, engineer, and now humanity's first line of defense, straightened her shoulders and prepared to face humanity's first extraterrestrial threat. All right, she said, her voice steady despite her exhaustion. Let's show them what humans can do with a little junk and a lot of creativity. Trial by fire. The alien ships emerged from hyperspace in a burst of light that lit up Earth's sky like a second sun. 7 massive vessels, each larger than anything humanity had ever built, arranged themselves in an attack formation above the planet. Their hulls gleamed with an otherworldly metal that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. In the transformed recycling facilities command center, Sarah watched them through the Guardian's enhanced sensors. Her jerry-rigged defense system hummed around her, the marriage of alien technology and human ingenuity vibrating with barely contained power. They're hailing us, the Guardian announced. The signal matches Craxian protocols. They are known for claiming unprotected worlds. Put them through, Sarah said, straightening her grease-stained coveralls. A holographic screen materialized, showing a being that looked like a cross between a praying mantis and a suit of medieval armor. Its compound eyes glittered with cold intelligence. Primitive species, the alien commander's translated voice filled the room. Your world has been claimed by the Craxian Imperium. Submit to immediate occupation or face extinction. You have no defenses we cannot overcome, no weapons that can harm us. Choose wisely. Sarah felt a bead of sweat roll down her neck. The recycling facility's power systems were screaming warnings at her. They were never meant to channel this much energy. But she kept her voice steady as she responded. This is Sarah Chen of Earth, and I'm afraid this world is already protected. The alien commander made a sound like grinding metal, perhaps their version of laughter. Protected? By what? Our scans show no planetary defense systems, no space fleet, no. The commander stopped abruptly as Sarah activated the Guardian's energy shield. A dome of shimmering blue energy expanded from the facility, growing to cover the entire continent in seconds. Sarah watched the aliens' compound eyes widen as their sensors registered the impossible energy readings. Impossible, the commander hissed. A Guardian system. Here. This world was marked as pre-spaceflight. Surprise, Sarah muttered, then louder. Last chance to leave peacefully. We don't want to fight, but we will defend ourselves. The response came in the form of weapons fire. The lead ship launched a barrage of energy torpedoes that streaked toward Earth like falling stars. Sarah held her breath as they impacted the shield, which held, barely. The recycling facility's structure groaned under the strain. Shield integrity at 60%, the Guardian reported. The Craxian weapons are more advanced than anticipated. We cannot sustain this level of defense. Sarah's mind raced as she watched another barrage approach. The aliens' weapons were overwhelming their defenses through sheer power, but maybe that was also their weakness. They're using too much energy, she said, an idea forming. What if we turned that against them? Clarify. The Guardian prompted, even as it diverted power to reinforce failing shield sections. Sarah's fingers flew over the holographic controls, pulling up schematics of the recycling facility's electromagnetic systems. We sort metals by using their own properties against them, right? Creating fields that either attract or repel based on the material's composition. She highlighted the facility's main sorting array. What if we did the same thing with their energy weapons? The Guardian was silent for a moment, processing. You propose to recycle their attacks. Exactly. Sarah began rerouting power through the facility's modified systems. Their weapons have a specific energy signature. If we can tune our shields to that frequency, we might be able to catch their attacks and send them right back. The power requirements would be enormous, the Guardian warned, and the calculations would need to be perfect. One mistake and then help me make it perfect. Sarah snapped, ducking as another impact made the ceiling creak ominously. We're out of options. Together, they worked to reconfigure the shields. Sarah's understanding of materials and energy flow merged with the Guardian's advanced calculations. The facility's systems protested as they pushed them far beyond their design limits, but somehow they held together. The next Craxian barrage approached, and Sarah held her breath. The shields shifted frequency just as the energy torpedoes hit. Instead of exploding, the weapon's energy was caught in a complex electromagnetic web, their power redirected and amplified by the very systems designed to sort scrap metal. Now, Sarah shouted, and the Guardian released the stored energy. The recycled attack shot back toward the Craxian fleet, multiplied in power by their own momentum. The aliens, caught completely off guard by their own weapons being turned against them, took the full force of the blast. 3 of their ships immediately lost power, their hulls crackling with feedback from the unexpected energy pattern. The others tried to retreat, but Sarah and the Guardian had already caught them in the facility's electromagnetic grid. Your ships are trapped in our sorting field, Sarah announced to the increasingly panicked alien commander. Like any other piece of metal that comes through my facility. Now about that peaceful solution we mentioned earlier. The commander's mandibles clicked rapidly, their version of nervous swallowing. This is unprecedented. No primitive species has ever. Maybe it's time to update your definition of primitive, Sarah suggested. Earth is under Guardian protection now. But more than that, it's protected by human ingenuity. Spread the word. After the Craxian fleet retreated, minus several ship components that the facility's sorting systems had found interesting, Sarah finally allowed herself to collapse into her chair. Every muscle ached, and the command center was still sparking from overloaded circuits. Your solution was unorthodox, the Guardian commented, using recycling technology to defeat a spacefaring military force. The probability of success should have been virtually zero. Sarah laughed tiredly. Welcome to Earth. We specialize in beating the odds. She looked at the facility's readings, already thinking about improvements they could make. Though next time, let's try to give them a proper recycling demonstration. I've got some ideas about more efficient energy conversion. The Guardian's response carried what might have been amusement. I begin to understand why the Artaxians chose to protect developing species. Your methods are chaotic, illogical, and surprisingly effective. Just wait until you see what we can do with proper preparation, Sarah said, grinning despite her exhaustion. This is just the beginning. The human element. In the weeks following the Craxian incident, Sarah's recycling facility became the unofficial center of Earth's first extraterrestrial relations program. Scientists, military officials, and government representatives from around the world crowded into hastily constructed meeting rooms, all trying to understand how a junkyard had become humanity's first line of defense. Sarah ignored most of them. She had more important things to worry about. "Pass me the plasma cutter," she called out from inside an open section of the Guardian's core systems. The tool floated over to her. Carried by one of the maintenance drones, she cobbled together from spare parts and alien tech. "Thanks, Bob." "You named the maintenance drones?" the Guardian asked, its tone somewhere between curiosity and concern. "Of course. They've got personalities." Sarah adjusted her safety goggles, studying the intricate crystalline structures before her. "Bob here is reliable but a bit slow, unlike Katie over there, who's brilliant but tends to get overexcited." As if on cue, another drone zipped past, carrying 3 tools at once and nearly colliding with a wall. Sarah grinned. "See what I mean? Your tendency to anthropomorphize machinery is." The Guardian paused, searching for the right word. "Unique. But effective," Sarah pointed out, carefully modifying the power distribution node she'd been working on. "Since I started treating them like individuals, their efficiency has improved by 30%. Sometimes understanding comes from connection, not just calculation." The Guardian was silent for a moment, processing this. Around them, the facility hummed with activity. What had once been a simple recycling plant was evolving into something unprecedented, a hybrid of human and alien technology that defied conventional classification. "We're receiving another transmission," the Guardian announced suddenly. "Multiple ships approaching. Signatures match. The Galactic Council." Sarah emerged from the core housing, wiping grease from her hands. "The big shots, huh? Guess our little light show with the Craxians got their attention." The ships that appeared in Earth's orbit were different from the Craxian vessels. Elegant, almost organic in design. Their arrival wasn't threatening, but it carried a weight of authority that Sarah could feel even from the ground. The council representatives who transported down to the facility were a diverse group. Some looked almost human. Others were so alien that Sarah's mind struggled to process their forms. But all of them radiated the same sense of ancient power and knowledge. "We have come to evaluate this world's status," announced their leader, a tall being with crystalline features that shifted like flowing water. "The activation of a Guardian node by a pre-spaceflight species is unprecedented." Sarah straightened her oil-stained coveralls, suddenly very aware that she was humanity's first impression on the galactic government. "Well, we're fond of unprecedented around here." The council members toured the facility, their expressions, on those who had recognizable expressions, ranging from shock to disbelief, as they saw what Sarah had done with the Guardian's technology. "This is impossible," one of them muttered, examining a power converter that combined alien crystals with repurposed solar panel components. These systems weren't designed to integrate this way. The engineering principles are completely unorthodox. "But they work," Sarah pointed out. She gestured to Katie, who zoomed over with a diagnostic display. "We've improved power efficiency by 40% by incorporating principles from Earth's recycling technology. Turns out, the way we separate materials can be applied to energy flow on a quantum level." The crystalline leader studied her carefully. "You've modified ancient Artaxian technology it took other species centuries to even understand, in a matter of weeks." "How?" Sarah shrugged. "We didn't know it was supposed to be impossible. When humans see a problem, we try to fix it. Sometimes not knowing the right way to do something lets you find a better way." "Show them the maintenance system," the Guardian suggested, and Sarah could have sworn she heard pride in its voice. She led the council members to the drone maintenance bay, where her small army of repurposed robots worked in organized chaos. "We couldn't replicate the original Artaxian maintenance protocols," she explained, "so we improvised. Used Earth's automated assembly line principles, combined with some creative programming." "You gave them names," one council member observed, watching Bob carefully polish a power conduit. "And personalities," Sarah agreed. "Turns out, when you treat technology like it's alive, it starts acting like it's alive." The drones develop preferred work patterns, learn from experience, even show initiative. They're not just tools anymore. They're partners. The council members conferred among themselves in rapid, untranslated speech. Finally, the crystalline leader turned back to Sarah. "We came here expecting to find a violation of galactic law, a primitive species somehow accessing technology beyond their development level. Instead, we find innovation, creation. You haven't just used the Guardian system, you've evolved it, enhanced it in ways even its creators didn't imagine." Sarah felt the weight of their collective gaze. "So, is that a good thing?" "It is an unprecedented thing," the leader replied, "and perhaps exactly what our civilization needs. We have grown, stagnant, bound by traditions and established principles. But humans," they gestured at the hybrid technology surrounding them, "you see possibilities where we see limitations. The Council hereby recognizes Earth as a protected world," another member announced formally. "Furthermore, we wish to establish a permanent exchange of knowledge. There is much we can learn from each other." Sarah blinked. "Just like that. We're part of the galactic community." The crystalline leader's features rippled in what might have been amusement. "You became part of the community the moment you turned a recycling facility into a planetary defense system. Now we're just making it official." As the council members prepared to leave, the leader turned back to Sarah. "One more thing. We've detected similar Guardian nodes on other developing worlds. Would you be interested in helping activate them? Your unique perspective could be invaluable." Sarah looked around at her facility, at Bob and Katie and all their drone siblings, at the impossible merger of human and alien technology, at the future she never imagined when she was just sorting scrap metal. "On one condition," she said, grinning. "I get to bring my tools." A new chapter. 1 year after Earth's dramatic entrance into galactic society, Sarah Chen stood in what had once been a simple recycling facility control room, now transformed into Earth's premier center for xenotechnology integration. Through the quantum glass windows, she could see dozens of alien ships in holding patterns above the facility, waiting their turn to study humanity's unique approach to technology. "Guardian," she called out, watching a group of crystalline Axioni engineers examine her latest hybrid power converter design. "What's the status on the Proxima Centauri node?" "Activation sequence proceeding ahead of schedule," the AI replied. "The local species has shown remarkable aptitude for technological integration. Much like humans, your modifications to the activation protocols have reduced the adjustment period by 60%. Sarah smiled, remembering her own first contact with alien technology. In the past year, she'd helped activate Guardian nodes on 3 different worlds, each time refining the process. Instead of overwhelming developing species with advanced technology, they now introduced it gradually, allowing each civilization to adapt and innovate in their own unique way. Message incoming from the Galactic Council. The Guardian announced, Priority 1. The holographic display shimmered to life, showing the now familiar face of the crystalline council leader, Operator Chen. They greeted her, their features flowing like liquid starlight. The results from your latest innovation have exceeded all expectations. The recycling principles worked for their biology too? Sarah asked, genuinely curious. She'd suggested applying Earth's material separation techniques to help a silicon-based species deal with toxic crystal formations in their atmosphere. Beyond our most optimistic projections, their entire ecosystem is showing signs of recovery. The council leaders' form shifted, expressing what Sarah had learned to recognize as deep satisfaction. Which brings me to the purpose of this communication. The council has a proposal for you. Sarah raised an eyebrow. I'm listening. We wish to establish a new division within the council itself, the Department of Innovative Technologies, a place where species can share unconventional solutions, where the impossible can be attempted without the weight of traditional constraints. The leader paused meaningfully. We want you to lead it. For a moment, Sarah was speechless. She looked around at her facility. At Bob the drone carefully organizing tools, at Katie zipping between projects with endless enthusiasm, at the impossible merger of human creativity and alien technology that surrounded her. I'm honored, she said finally, but I have conditions. Of course you do, the leader replied, their tone carrying what might have been affection. Proceed. First, the department needs to be open to all species, regardless of their technological level. Sometimes the simplest solutions come from those who haven't learned what's impossible yet. She gestured to a group of human interns working alongside alien scientists. Second, we maintain the principle that there's no such thing as junk, only resources we haven't figured out how to use yet. The council leader's form rippled with amusement, turning the galaxy's waste into its salvation. How very human. And third, Sarah continued, watching Bob attempt to teach an Accioni engineer the proper way to organize a tool rack, we keep the drones. All of them. The maintenance units with the individual personalities that you insist on treating as living beings. They're part of the team, Sarah said firmly. And they've probably taught us as much about integrating different technologies as we've taught them. The leader's crystalline features shifted in what Sarah now recognized as their version of a smile. Accepted. All of it. Though I must note that your insistence on personalizing machinery has already spread to 3 other species. The Accioni have begun naming their quantum computers. Sarah grinned. Good. Maybe if we all start seeing the connections between living beings and technology, between what we create and what we are, we'll come up with even better solutions. As if to emphasize her point, Katie zoomed past, carrying a complex alien device that was somehow modified with parts from an old Earth toaster. The Accioni engineers watched in fascination as the drone integrated it into their system, improving its efficiency by 30%. You know, Sarah said, watching the impossible collaboration unfold, when I first found that Guardian node in the recycling pile, I thought I was just going to fix another broken machine. Instead, you have helped fix the galaxy's approach to progress itself, the council leader finished. Your species' ability to see possibilities where others see only limitations, to find new uses for old ideas, to treat the impossible as simply a challenge to overcome. These are gifts we didn't know we needed. Sarah touched the wall of her facility, once just a place for sorting trash, now a beacon of innovation for the entire galaxy. So what's our first official project as a department? Actually, the leader's form shifted with excitement. We've detected unusual energy readings from a galaxy in the Andromeda cluster. All previous attempts to investigate have failed due to technological incompatibilities. We thought perhaps a more creative approach might be needed. Sounds perfect, Sarah said, already making mental notes. Let me grab my toolkit. And Bob, she called out to the drone, who perked up immediately, gather the team. We've got some impossible problems to solve. As Sarah prepared for humanity's next great adventure, she couldn't help but smile at how far they'd come. From a species confined to one world, sorting through their own debris, to a civilization helping reshape the galaxy's understanding of what was possible. All because someone decided to look at a piece of junk and see potential instead of waste. The Guardian's voice carried a note of what might have been pride as it announced. New project parameters loaded. Team assembled. Ready to proceed. Operator Chen. Sarah looked at her assembled team. Human, alien, artificial, and everything in between. Each bringing their own unique perspective, their own way of seeing the impossible. Ready, she said. Let's show the galaxy what we can recycle next.